Welcome po sa Data Engineering Pilipinas, Data Masters. I'm Renan Matthew Fajardo, and I'll be one of your hosts tonight, together with Sir Yui in Data Masters Episode 21, powered by Data Engineering Pilipinas, a PyData community. So, thank you, Sir Yui, for managing and connecting with our speaker tonight, and also that managed the chats tonight for moderation. So for those who are new here, Data Masters is a community-driven initiative by Data Engineering Pilipinas that brings together a dedicated group of individuals. Here, we share our passion for honing project presentation, interview skills, and knowledge sharing in a fully supportive and collaborative environment. It is our learning and sharing space where community members and invited speakers walks us through various topics in data engineering, analytics, AI, and related fields. So before we get started, here's a few quick reminders. Number one, please keep your mics muted during the talk unless you are asking a question. You can type your questions anytime in the chat and we'll have a Q&A portion later. And also, this session is being recorded, so you can watch the replay later in our DEP channels. So for our main event, tonight we're covering the exploratory data analysis on the top 100 US companies using 2024 data. Um, For our speaker is Miss Jean Marie B. Quiñanola or Miss Shiva. She graduated with a BS in Mathematics from Mindanao State University, Iligan Institute of Technology. She currently works as a communications and marketing officers at Limitless Lab, where she can blend analytical thinking with creative communication. And also, she volunteers as a junior mission specialist at Kada Career, helping professionals navigating their career paths. She will walk us through her first full EDA project from start to finish. And she'll cover how she scraped the data, clean it, and build with the messy parts, and build with visualization that actually tells a story. So she used a Jupyter Lab as her main environment and leverage LLM as a tool along the way. So let's all welcome Shiva, si Miss Shiva. The floor is yours for Miss Shiva. You can share your screen now.
Hello, everyone. People. Hello.
Hello, naririnig ko po namin.
Okay.
Okay na po.
Thank you, Sir Matt, for the introduction. So I'm very grateful to be here. So this evening I'm going to present my first end-to-end data exploratory project titled Top 100 US Companies for the year 2024. So this session would go as follows. So first, the project overview, or why I eventually came up with this project. Like what are some happy accidents that led me to make this project. The second one, which would take the bulk of this presentation, would be the insights. What are the things that I've learned from the data that I've scraped. Of course, the challenges and the lessons while I was doing the project. So for the project overview, this started because I got interested in web scraping. So honestly, I just decided to start this because web scraping sounds cool. It sounds very like fancy and technical. So like I accidentally watched one of Alex the Analyst video, and I decided to go for it. And so the video only covers web scraping, but then I got interested in the data that I was that I have web scrape. So it's just a simple data. It's a table from Wikipedia which contains 100 rows and if I'm not mistaken 7 or 8 columns. So um I eventually dive into the exploratory data analysis part of it. So the tools that I've used are Beautiful Soup for web scraping. Then for the data analysis, I have used the package NumPy, Pandas, Seaborn, and Plotly. And while I was doing the project, while I was in the middle of it, I decided to document it and use Notion. I think documentation really helps to clear out my thoughts and to like to center me and pull myself together, especially when I'm stuck or like I feel overwhelmed. Since this is the first time, this is my first project. So instead of staring at the screen and like procrastinating, I ended up writing my thoughts in Notion, and I think that that really helps. So for the data insights, so this is the bubble chart of the top 100 US companies. So in the x-axis, we have the revenue in terms of USD. On the y-axis is the revenue growth. And the size of the bubble indicates the number of employees for each company. So one thing I've noticed in this graph is most of the revenue growth of each companies falls between negative 0.5 to 0.5. So it's very clear na si Nvidia parang outlier talaga siya and grabe talaga yung revenue growth niya for the year 2024. Kasi lagpas if I'm not mistaken parang 1.25 yata yung revenue growth niya. So, lagpas na sa 100%. Then we also have here yung top two companies naman na may pinakamataas na revenue, which is Walmart at si Amazon. So this is actually not the first graph that I created. If I remember, this is like second to the last graph na because I really don't have any roadmap. So I was just like winging it as I go. But I feel like this is the graph in terms of organization na that should be put first because it already gives an overview of like the information na nandun sa data. So yun, and for this I've used Plotly. So I think it's better than sa Jupyter Lab because mas interactive siya. Mas like you could click this and may makikita kang like details. But I really don't know how to make it interactive in like Google Slides. So I just screenshot this. So one thing na I so yun I said na one thing I like about this graph is it already gives an overview of the things na binibigay ng data like yung revenue growth or yung revenue niya in terms of USD. But one thing that I don't like then and I've struggled is yung sa industry. I've tried to find ways to reclassify yung mga companies. But kasi I'm not sure how to reclassify them so that maliit na lang yung industry. So I eventually didn't do it. So I'd say na it looks a bit cluttered given na there are a lot of industries and each of those industries have different colors. So yun. The second graph would be this map. And this also I think third to the last graph na ginawa ko based dun sa data. And honestly, the first thing that comes to mind while making this graph was not really like the functionality of it, but like yung aesthetics. Kasi maganda siya tingnan, like it looks cool. But I think naman for the functionality of it, kasi when I was making this project, I considered yung POV ng um if I were to be an investor. And I would say na if I were an investor, aside dun sa revenue growth at saka yung actual revenue, yung isa din sa mga i-consider ko is yung location ng companies. Kasi I feel like if mas malapit yung company sa akin, like if it's in my place, then mas madaling makakalap ng chismis. So parang I would I would know na okay, may narinig ako, and then I would verify it if like i-hold ko ba pa yung investment or hindi na. So it's the same with the first graph. Three pa rin yung variables niya. But yung difference dito is instead nung sa revenue growth, yung pinapakita dito is yung headquarters. So yung size ng bubble dito is yung yung employee number pa rin for each company. But the color, if mas matingkad siya, it means like for this one, if yellow na siya, it means mas mataas yung revenue niya for this year. So this one, yung lollipop graph, I think it looks simple, pero this is one of the first graph that I attempted to create. Actually, it was a bar graph, pero kasi yung sa y-axis na part, ang jumbled niya kasi matataas yung name ng mga companies. So I don't like the look of it. So I decided like I've used ChatGPT, and I eventually came up with this lollipop graph. But kasi one of the things din na I've noticed sa kay ChatGPT is sometimes it's hard to give context kay ChatGPT. Like minsan napapagod ako mag-type na for this project, ito yung context. Kasi most of the time, yung binibigay niya is like a general code lang. And hindi din siya like hindi siya simplified na version. So I have to understand the code and parang take steps para mas simplified siya along the way. And also hindi din aesthetic si ChatGPT. So the first time na nag-copy paste ako ng code ng lollipop graph ni ChatGPT, I really didn't like the look of it or like yung aesthetic. So I decided to like do trial and error, like change some of the parameters and see then like what happens dun sa graph. Also by the way then yung I wouldn't talk much about yung code, but I have given the link na din sa Discord yung Notion, where like I give then parang yung step by step ko dun sa code and my thoughts on those things. So this is also another lollipop graph of naman. Ito naman is employee count naman siya. So here yung pinakamalaki is Walmart, and yung pinakamaliit naman is StoneX Group. If I'm not mistaken, itong si StoneX Group is a tech company, and of course Walmart is a retail company. So I think it makes sense naman given na si Walmart, it will have a lot of employee count kasi like it has stores, there needs to be parang customer service yun. So another employee count naman, employee count lollipop graph, but this time trinay ko na like parang I'm not sure if i-overlay, hindi ko sure if right yung term, ng revenue growth and yung revenue in terms ng USD. And ito naman siya, I made this lollipop graph which shows the ratio for each company, the revenue, the ratio between the revenue in terms of USD and the number of employees. So yung revenue growth, yung correlation between revenue growth and number of employees is close siya to zero. But one thing that fascinates me is yung correlation between revenue and the number of employees. So at first, I tried yung person correlation, which is the default na correlation na binibigay ng code na to. So it has a correlation of a person correlation coefficient of 0.69. But I've also tried like other methods which are rank based, Spearman and Kendall, and it shows na may correlation pa din. So I tried other methods because as I've mentioned earlier, yung top two companies with the highest number of employees, which are Walmart and Amazon, are also the companies which had the top two companies which has the highest revenue. So I just thought that maybe that could have affected with the computation ng person correlation. So ito yung parang formula for the person correlation, and hindi kasi siya rank based. So like yung Amazon at Walmart, both of them have, let's say yung X natin is yung revenue in terms of USD, and yung Y is yung number of employees. Both of them have high number of revenue and number of employees. So if we plug it into this formula, because of like how the formula is designed, um given a multiplication yung nasa taas, it would like amplify yung positive na correlation nila. And then kasi yung sa denominator is just a scaling factor, so it would not be enough to affect if ever that yung Amazon at Walmart would skew yung computation ng person correlation. But yeah, I just realized recently, like just recently while I was practicing this, na sana pala tinanggal ko na lang yung Amazon at Watsons. Like if like maybe mas mabuti if tinanggal ko lang sila, and I would have just see if okay pa ba rin yung correlation. So I think that could have been a better approach. So it was one of those like very very late na realizations. So ito naman yung Spearman. So this is rank based pa din siya. So as you can see, instead na yung actual value which is like similar dun sa person, ito nirarank niya siya. So it would mitigate the outlier better. So for instance, itong exam score, if 75 to siya, if there's 75, then this would still rank as 1 since ito ang pinakamataas. But then if it would like let's just say na maybe hindi exam score, maybe it's other variables, like let's say umabot ng 1,000, it would still rank as 1. So yung regardless of kung ano yung value ng Y, yung rank pa rin niya the same. So yung outlier, so parang yung Spearman would be able to mitigate the outlier better. And lastly is yung Kendall. So different lang din yung formula niya, and mas stricter din siya kasi it takes kasi it takes into account na din yung like if I'm not mistaken, titingnan niya lahat ng pairs. Like sa person is this one and this, ito lang siya, pero titingnan niya lahat ng possible pairs, and if concordant pa, which is if nag-agree ba yung rank nila like this, or discordant, which is if hindi nag-agree yung rank nila. So I just want to share like my thought process on that thing. Then lastly, yung bar graph. So this is actually like the last graph that I made, and like from the very start I was like keen on making the bar graph, but ironically, ito pa rin pala yung last na gagawin ko na graph. So this is based naman on industries. So yung top 4 lang na industries yung kinuha ko. So here we have yung financial companies, and dito naman is yung healthcare companies. So as you can see, walang negative whether sa financial and healthcare companies in terms sa revenue. I mean in terms sa revenue growth. But and dito naman sa retail and petroleum companies, sa retail companies, there are some companies which have a negative revenue growth, and I didn't bother to search na din, but I don't know what happens sa petroleum industry, pero all of the petroleum companies have a negative revenue growth. So there might be some events specific to the industry that impacted yung petroleum. That's why negative sila lahat. Or at least yung petroleum companies nakasama sa top 100. Then for the challenges and lesson, so the first one really is overcoming procrastination. And I think there's also need to be like, or maybe this is just my opinion, but I feel like there also needs to be an acceptance that or maybe in my case na I would always procrastinate on doing new things, because it would really scare me off knowing na there's no roadmap. Parang it's something that I'm not used to doing, and like parang there's not, I mean, of course I could ask ChatGPT and like search YouTube and search Google, but then it all comes down to me pa rin. Like there's no one telling me like what to do, and sometimes I would wonder um if this is right, if like tama ba yung ginagawa ko. And then one of the lessons then na somehow related then sa overcoming procrastination was planning and studying can also be a form of procrastination, because I feel like for the longest time, like I I had the data. I've enrolled sa data camp, and I would watch lessons and do the exercises. But I've always, pero palagi kong nakakalimutan yung code. And I think off tangent then dun sa lesson was like, I think pain is a good way to remember things, because given that, because I really felt like the pain of like doing this, even if it's just a simple project of like getting stuck. So I feel like I remember things better, as opposed dun sa if I just watch YouTube and like follow lang yung tutorials or yun. Then finding the data set. Um yes, I think this has also been a challenge, and I'm glad that I accidentally stumbled upon yung web scraping na video, because when I was a student, may mga pinapresent na data set during class, which is usually like, for example sa R, yung empty cars, or like yung petals for sa correlation. But I just don't feel like the connection, like I don't feel like, parang hindi ako nai-intrigue sa data set. Like I don't see the end of it. So I think it challenged din yun to find a data set that would be interesting for me. So and yung kaakibat na din na lessons nun would be I realized na pala na I'm interested in finance, because like every time na, even if just simple things, if simple insights lang yun, like for instance in between negative 0.5 pala to 0.5 yung revenue growth, or like wow, si Nvidia ang lakas ng revenue growth niya sa year 2024. Parang I just, for some reason, I just really feel happy knowing that, and parang discovering it for myself. Like of course maybe I could have, maybe na-stumble, pwede naman na ma-stumble ko lang yung information na yun sa site, or maybe I could have just researched it, and I could have just found it easily on one of the financial websites. Pero it's different pala when like you try to do something end to end, and like the result of having that parang simple insight. Then lastly would be about um figuring figuring things out. So I think one aside sa coding itself, I think yung pinakamahirap is ano ba yung mga iga-graph ko. So I think it took me 1 month to make this. Kasama na din yung procrastination for each step. Every time I don't know kung anong graph na yung susunod ko na gagawin, and if this is okay, and when should I stop. So yeah, I think it's one of the things then. Like, then also, yeah, restart kernel and run all cells. I think it's because when I watch yung Alex the Analyst video, I was tempted, and when I watch yung Alex the Analyst video, and I already decided na okay, this would go I would go beyond web scraping. I was tempted to watch naman another tutorial videos, and I told myself, okay, I wouldn't watch any tutorial videos. Like I would just Google it, or maybe I would just search it on Chat GPT, because I feel like if I watch another tutorial videos, magpro-procrastinate na naman ako. So when I did that, hindi ako nag-watch ng like kung paano gamitin si Jupyter Lab. I just knew Jupyter Lab, and hindi ako and I'm not that familiar with Jupyter Lab. I've just used it parang once yata in like one of my projects sa undergrad, and it was a very very long time na. So hindi ko alam yung lahat ng mga functionalities ni Jupyter Lab. So the first few days while I was making the end-to-end project, I like the first days were like gagana siya, then the next day I would open Jupyter Lab at hindi din naman siya gagana. Because like my intuition at that time would be it would be like any other app na isi-save niya yung progress ko, and I would just like parang I would just start kung saan ako natapos on the previous day. But then I was always getting these errors, and I was like fixing all the cells. Tapos I just thought na I think I eventually discovered it, and I realized na ganito ba talaga to? Like maybe there are some functionalities na hindi ako aware, and yeah, I decided to try to try to search for it. Then lastly, then converting data frame into CSV file. I think it would really take a lot of pain to remember things. Kasi naalala ko this was a lesson dun sa data camp. But then hindi talaga siya nag-sink in until I've already experienced like the pain of not converting a web scrape na data which was already converted sa Jupyter Lab as data frame into CSV file, because what happens was kailangan ko pang i-run ulit yung mga cells na merong web scraping code para makuha ko yung data frame. And I think it took a few days before ko na realize na hala, dapat kinonvert ko na to into CSV file, and hindi na ako parang nag-bother pa na i-run yung mga web scraping code. And it was such a hassle given na like for some reason I think there were some changes dun sa Wikipedia na website, dun sa structure niya. So if may changes doon, then babaguhin ko na naman yung web scraping code para makita ko din naman yung data frame. So yeah, it was like really one of the things then I realized hard, and I feel like I wouldn't realize it hard enough if I just continue lang with the tutorials. Then I think I've mentioned na this I wait lang. So I could have used ChatGPT more efficiently. So yeah, because I feel like sometimes I feel like I should have been more efficient, like with my prompts. Should have given ChatGPT the context of my project from the get-go para din hindi din generalize yung code na ibibigay niya. So yun. So I feel like maybe if I'm going to do another project, I should have set up siguro like mga ready to use prompts na, so that I wouldn't bother like typing long prompts just to get like parang what I want, or just to get the explanation that I wanted. Then lastly, documentation. So I've talked this previously na din while I was discussing. I think I've talked this from the start, but yeah, I really think documentation really helped. So I'm not sure if I did my documentation right. Like when I was doing my documentation, I was wondering, is this really how parang data analyst document while they are doing their corporate job? And I just like parang I just said na okay, like bahala na, I would just like write all my thoughts about this, and this was just to help me clear my minds off. So yeah, those are the challenges and lessons that I've learned along the way. And yeah, um so yeah, so I'm finished with like presenting my project. This is just like a plug in lang, like with ng both of ng opportunities ng both of the companies that I'm currently working or volunteering. So for yung wino-work ko na company right now, which is Limitless Lab, we're hiring the following roles. So this is still like recent, like October 6 pa siya. So wait, I think yeah, yun yung mga links. So yung Limitless Lab is hiring. Tapos we also have the Hour of Code challenge. So this is like for like really beginner na gustong understand into how AI works. So you can do it for yourself. You can do it lang uh on your own lang, and this is like the step lang din. But if you want to be guided, then you can also join our weekly Hour of Code. So we have an upcoming on October 14 3 p.m. and also October 21 at 3 p.m. So yeah, please join, because like they're also aside from like learning about AI and getting two certificates, you could also like have the chance to win one of the following prizes. Then for kada career, um we have the upcoming Unilever Future Leaders program. So I think if you're a student, or if you want to improve your resume, or like um just want to learn more about Unilever, so we have this. So the deadline for this is October 19 2025. Then this one din naman, this is on site, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is on site. Career discovery and deep dive. In partnership naman with Equinex. So this is specific sa HR, cybersecurity, business, and more. So yun lang. I've commented the link dun sa Discord if any one of you is interested into these things. So yun lang, and thank you so much. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. So if you have any feedback or anything, I'd really be glad to take them so that I can improve myself.
Ayun. Thank you, Miss Jean. That was a solid walkthrough with your tough challenges and lessons you managed to create your first project in exploratory data analysis with the top 100 companies in US. So as of now, we will go to open the floor for questions. So if you like to ask something, feel free to raise your hand to speak or also drop your questions in the chat and we will read it out. So I think I see one question here. Ito. Good day po. Yung Sperman measures the rank-based coloration and yung Kendall naman measuring what kind of pairing correlation. Ayun.
So, I think yung Candle is same pa rin sila sa Spearman. Rank-based pa rin yung correlation. Pero I think nag-differ lang sila sa formula. Hindi ko na kasi dinerive yung formula or didn't try to understand it deeper pa. Pero yun lang yung alam ko doon sa Spearman and sa Kendall. I think yung Kendall is combination siya. Like, yung Spearman kasi parang one is to one lang siya na pairing. Like, kung sino yung ka-pair ni, for example, um, yung number of employees ni Amazon at yung revenue niya, yun lang yung i-prepare niya at i-find out kung ano yung correlation doon. But then, yung sa Kendall kasi, i-prepare din yung revenue ni Amazon with other than na mga number of employees. I'm not sure if sakto yung mali yung explanation ko, pero like, yeah, hindi din kasi ako like parang nag-derive na din ng formula. Tinamad ako like intindihin yun.
I think we will yung next question naman. Hi Jean, a very good work on this very aesthetic and vibrant yung dashboard. I just joined late aside of displaying the data insights from scrap data. Curious lang po if may problem or question you are trying to solve to display by creating that dashboard.
Yeah, so I really didn't have any parang industry specific things na I wanted to solve because I knew na parang it's one of the things that make up good project that you have some industry specific things you need to solve. But given na I'm still new to the industry, like really couldn't think of anything. So like just decided to parang explore for myself. Like if I were an investor, what are the things na I would look at even if yung data is just for a year na would help me to like to at least parang guess kung saan ko ilalagay yung money ko assuming that I have the money to invest. And yeah, yun yung main motivator ko doon. So that's why yung first the intuition ko was to look doon sa revenue in terms of SD or pati na din yung sa revenue growth. I feel din kasi na like ang first na intuition ko is yung sa revenue in terms sa USD. Kasi I feel like if I'm a short-term investor, kasi mukha akong pera, yung una ko talagang titingnan is if like pera ba tong company na to. So if syempre malaki yung revenue, I would think na mas malaki din yung makukuha ko if I invest bigger. But later then, na-realize ko na I also need to look at the revenue growth, especially for like the long-term na investment. Kasi like, for instance, there was yung Pfizer, yung if I'm not mistaken, yung revenue growth niya was like negative 0.4. So parang it was way below. So I would feel like if I were the investor, maybe in the succeeding years, mahirap na tong bawiin na tong revenue growth na to. So I would be tempted less to invest dun sa Pfizer given na this is yung revenue growth niya for this year. I mean for last year.
Ayos yun ah. So, as Miss Sandy said, ini-imply din ni Miss Jean na she imagined herself as an investor. So, it gives a help also to want to invest in stocks, especially in Nasdaq. Yun. Kasi usually, as of now, pagpalagay natin sila Tesla, Nvidia, Especially ngayon nagbo-boom sila AI, AMD, uh, Intel, and other companies in US, no? It is a good help din para ma magkaroon ng a risk if you want to invest to those companies, especially in US, no? Kasi mainit din ngayon ang US. So, I think, is there any more question from the chat? Lang kayo guys kung may gusto kayong tanong or anything. Ayun, coming from Sir Yui, have you considered doing this analysis on PH companies?
Hindi ko siya na-consider, but maybe like I'll do it like para sa next project ko. Maybe try ko din naman siya Excel because this one is it's all Python and nasa Jupyter Lab. So maybe other like tools naman yung gagamitin ko. But maybe like the framework or maybe may makukuha ako na pwede makuha ako dito na project na I can apply din sa next project ko. Thank you
Ayun.
po for the suggestion.
Ayun, sa mga gusto dyan na mag-create ng data analysis project, no? Pwede nyo i-try yun, maganda yun. I think may data na available for that sa PSE, Philippine Stock Exchange. Di ko lang sure if meron, pero sana meron. Or sa data.gov. I think merong mga datasets na available. I think, there any more question? Okay, Sir Luis, might be good to highlight those you mentioned. The notion, the goals of the EDA aside with the brief overview para maklear yung portfolio. Ayun. Then, ayun, may pahabol pa palang question, I think. I think this naman na kay Sir Biggie. The question is not just for the speaker but also for everyone else. So what would be the benefits of doing your Python EDA project on Jupyter Lab versus Google Colab?
I don't have any idea kasi hindi ko pa na-try yung Google Colab.
I think ako
I
rin, hindi
would
ko
be
pa siya
grateful to
nagagamit.
know like ano yung difference din.
Ayun, I think Sir Yui or Ma'am Sandy, do you have any thoughts on that? Kasi I think Jupyter Lab lang yung familiar ako as of now for EDA. Pero yun, ayun, some people say that R can be used for EDA also, R programming language. And also, yun, si Google Colab is libre. It is available naman in online, I think. I think there's many tools na pwedeng gamitin for EDA. Siguro, it depends on the person how it will interpret the data. If am I correct, no? Siguro yun. It depends pa rin sa magta-translate ng data. Since, yun. I think, share ko lang yung last lesson, last data masters kay Sir Maki na hindi, the data it is not speaks for itself. So, nakadepende pa rin yun sa magta-translate ng data, no? So, yun nga. So, I think any tools na available, depende na lang sa user kung ano yung mas comfy ka or yun. Kung want mo ng Jupyter Lab, okay lang siguro, and Google Colab or and other thing, no?
Actually, Google Colab
Jupyter.
looks like a notebook eh. It looks like a Jupyter notebook. And in Google Colab, you can choose the number of cores, the GPU. You can go up or down. Depends on what you're trying to do. Then it's linked to your GitHub, so you can run using your repo.
Yun. Ay, thank you po, Miss Sandy. I think Miss Biggie na answer yung question na yun for that. And ay sorry pala sa sa pronunciation kasi hindi ko sure kung paano basahin si Jupiter or Jupiter. So, yun. Thank you for that, Biggie D, for correction. Jupiter pala siya. I think next question siguro ito. Bali, ano, kay Paper Tiger. Bali, ano po suggestion nyo? Like, paano i-present yung data dito? Bali, yung right side na graph, bali top 3 lang pinapakita ko. But marami po siya like 100 na health projects. Sa mga government, bali top 3 lang ini-include ko dito. Would it be better sama lahat? Yung graph
2 data points lang to? Bakit naka-line graph kung 2 data points lang? Mas maganda sana kung bar chart. Diba? From one period to another. Tapos mag-ano ka yung multiple bar charts. Alam mo yan? Yung parang gallery siya. So parang imagine a grid of, say, kunwari 9. Each grid would have a 3x3. Then you have 2 bars for each. You can do that. But I would not recommend a line chart for just 2 points. So line chart is for trending. If you're comparing 2 things, better to do clustered bar.
I think na-answer sana yung question mo. Paper
Ayun pala,
Tiger.
meron eh. Hindi po dapat gagamitin line chart ng non-time intelligence. Mas maganda kung ano talaga, yung line, kunwari, may quarter on quarter, year on year, pero pag dalawa lang, tip na kagad dapat sa'yo na, ay, hindi ito pang line. Dapat pang bar ito. Ganon.
Ayun. So, I think kaya pala yung sabi ni Biggie. Libre and medyo strict din kasi InfoSec namin when it comes to using tools outside Google Workspace. Oh. Pero di pa kasi ako nakapag-handle nung I think yung Google Colab yun. Hindi ko pa siya na-try. I'm not sure sa iba. Baka na-experience nila. Then, Colab is online and Jupyter as a local install, no? So, depende lang siguro sa user. Google Colab runs online, free and paid version. Jupyter Lab can be used via cloud or local machine. Mostly UI ang difference, yun. Sana na-answer yung question nung nag-ask about sa ayun, kung namimili for EDA projects.
Just want to say congrats to Jean. Jean or Gian? Jean?
Jean.
Job on doing... Jean, okay. Hi, Jean. Very good. Good job on doing this. I have a very important question. Ilang iPad yung price? Di ba may price na iPad? Isa lang yung iPad na price.
Opo, isang iPad, if I'm not mistaken, isang iPad 2025, 5 Galaxy A07, tapos 5 smartwatch.
Yan! Sige, sali.
Wow, sali na kayo, guys.
Seriously, I want to congratulate Jean. It's a very good presentation. I echo the sentiment of others that they got kind of lost, but I think these are the thoughts that you gave out, which are quite clear. Plotly is better. You are doing the point of view of an investor. So that point would be a good thing to put up front. So imagine I'm an investor. Imagine you're an investor. What are the things you'd be interested in? So, you set the stage already, parang sa movie, di ba? You set the story. Ito pala siya. Di ba sa movie merong sci-fi ba yan? O action? O romance? Ito, ano yung point of view of an investor? So, that's how you're doing your presentation. You set the stage first. And then, you start off with the talking points that you want to cover, maybe just 3. And then, pick off each talking point as you finish it. And then, you recap with the roadmap or the talking points at the end. So, okay. Diba na ano ko siya, na mention ko to, nagawa ko to, check, nagawa ko to, check. Sinabi ko, I looked at all the categories, I looked at everything. Yes, check. So, yun. Parang, so, yung cognitive load in the audience is really, really, really low. You spoon feed them. So, this is what I'll talk about. Talk about it. And then, recap. Oh, remember, this is what I talked about. Okay, but I really congratulate you and also I'm thankful that you're generous in sharing your thoughts and process. It's hard. It's not easy to admit that you procrastinated and you went through pain. Suggestion ko lang, huwag naman pain kasi baka naman hindi ma-encourage yung mga tao na gumawa ng project. Sabihin na lang natin challenge or friction. Yan. So, parang love din yan, love affair, di ba? You go through the pain of love, but once you find love, it's a good feeling, you get rewarded. So, ganun din sa project. You go through the pain, and then you figure things out. How do you want to do it? Take some time. But you find out that you love it. It's a data set that's interesting to you, and you pursue it. For you, it's money. Diba? So, you found out that you like it. So, at the end, you were rewarded with happiness. Happiness by discovering for yourself the insights that you got by going through that challenge. And I agree. You said watching tutorials is kind of hypnotic and it's addictive. You get into this tutorial churn. But when you went through fixing, we go through that. So to answer your question, ganito ba talaga? You keep fixing errors and fixing errors when you're with ChatGPT? Yes. And you mentioned, Jean, that ChatGPT or LLM just gives general code. That's so true. So you need to know coding, edit it because olats talaga. But okay, the good thing for me, at least for ChatGPT, is it helps you overcome the inertia. Remember, parang sa physics lang yan, di ba? Merong coefficient of static friction, may coefficient of may isang friction, motion friction ba? Anyway, so it helps. Yes, it helps if you use LLM as a tool to help you overcome procrastination. So I applaud you in sharing that because some people don't wanna even share that they use ChatGPT. Yes, you could, but you offset it with what are the caveats of using ChatGPT, and your passion comes across online. Lastly, I want to congratulate you on your Kada Career volunteer work. Aside from your paid work, baligtad ano? Instead of your paid, congratulating you on your paid work, you're really supporting and trying to get visibility of this Kada Career thing. So good, and I'm encouraged by the iPad. So to summarize, you were very generous in sharing your thoughts and feelings about this whole project and your journey. Hopefully, everybody's inspired by this. You're encouraging, and you did not sugarcoat it. You said it was challenging, but with great rewards. You like Plotly. I also like Plotly, which is very good. And the last thing is do what you're passionate about. So hopefully, a lot of people were inspired by this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you po, Ma'am Sandy, for the feedbacks that you shared to Miss Jean to improve her projects for future, no? It helps a lot, lalo na yung sa LLMs na nag-hallucinate. Yun yung mahirap talaga eh. Na kahit na finifeed mo siya ng correct data, minsan eh, mali yung binabato, which is a hard time to debug or yun, ayusin. So, before we wrap up, do you have anything to share or promote, Miss Jean? Anything pa?
Po, yun lang po yun yung sa hiring dun sa Limitless Lab, yung RF Code campaign, and also like always check din po yung sa kada career na page. There are a lot of upcoming events and workshops, especially dun po sa mga naghahanap po ng work. Yun lang po. Thank you so much po.
Ayun, thank you. So, mga interested na mag-join sa Limitless Lab, ayun, you can PM or direct message si Miss Jean or check the links, I think, here in chats. And also, who wants to volunteer in Kada Career or attend their events, you can join them. And also, sayang yung iPad, no? Kunin nyo yun. Ay, you can share din yung LinkedIn mo for people who wants to connect Miss Jean in chat. I think may question pa ulit, no? I have a question po for everyone. Ano po mga magagandang platforms para i-present yung mga data analysis projects? Currently, nilalagay ko mga projects ko sa GitHub, but I'm wondering if there's better pa na platforms out there. So, I think you can share it via Notion, yung kay Miss Jean. Pwede mo siya i-compile doon, then pwede mo siya gawa ng documentation and something. I think also probably WordPress, pwede rin siya. Create your blogs, anything. Pero via screenshot, I think. Not sure any tools na available. Do you mind everyone to share some things that you can share your projects? Yun lang yung available na alam ko eh, as of now. Thinks there more any questions po ba ganun? Kung wala na, no, I think ayun, isa pa pala, no, LinkedIn. Pwede rin siya if you want to share your exploratory data analysis or data analysis project. You can share via LinkedIn post, no, create some engagement. Post it. And also, you can share your projects here in Data Masters, no. Yun, pwede pa pala yun, isa pa. And post it on Data Engineering Pilipinas on Facebook. Share it and explain why you do it, what is your goal or aiming. So, ayun, I think 1, GitHub, tama yun. 2, Notion, yung ginawa ni Miss Jean. 3, maybe some CMS website like WordPress. I think via screenshots. Then, yun, you can link your your recording of your presentation as according to Ma'am Sandy said. And Sir Luis said that more on screenshot talaga siya eh. And GitHub. And also, suggestion is Sir Yubi, create ka ng post sa LinkedIn para sa engagement. And also, post it on Facebook if you want it. Para magkaroon ka ng engagement, para ma-correct yung some mistakes mo, ganun, and ma-improve pa yung projects mo. I think may isa pa tayong question, no? Ano po magandang platform for data analysts for hosting projects other than GitHub? Is Google Drive, Upwork enough? I think yun. Yung mga na-mention ko. I think that's it, no? There's no more question. And also, before we wrap up, gusto ko lang mag-promote for tomorrow's session. Wait, I'll share the screen. Ayan, bukas, tomorrow, we will have a Data Engineering Pilipinas AI study. A session, first session ulit, come back to. So, attendan niya guys. So, if some people interested in AI, kindly join this. And this is interesting session. And it will be here also in Discord, I think. Real problems that needs AI, and the speaker will be Simony Ezekiel Marikit. So sa mga gusto mag-join, ayun, join kayo bukas. Interesting din to, no? And also Data Masters chat will be created in FB. So sa mga gusto na mag-share sa Data Masters, yun. Miss Sandy said that the Data Masters chat will be recreated in FB. So kindly wait na lang sa post, I think, para ma-share yung QR. Kasi nag-migrate din tayo into a new platform, ay new chat, kasi mawawala yung community chat sa FB. So we created a backup para in case gusto pang mag-connect with other people o pang mawala yung community chats natin. Meron tayong bagong community chat na na-share sa Data Engineering Facebook. I think that's all, no? So, thank you. Thank you everyone for attending the session, and that's wrap up for our episode 21. Thank you to Miss Jean for taking the time to document and share this project with us. Thanks to Miss Sandy for sharing her thoughts on how to improve Miss Jean projects, and also Sir Yuvi for assisting me and being my co-host also in this Saturday evening. So if you found this session useful, make sure you're following Data Engineering Pilipinas, a Pi Data group on Meetup. That's where we announce upcoming talks, workshops, study sessions, and other community events. So once again, I am Renan Matthew Fajardo with my co-host Sir Yuvi. Stay curious, keep building, and we'll see you at the next session. Thank you everyone.